Welcome. My name is Max, and this is a communication climate presentation where I'll examine the interpersonal relationship between Vito Corleone and his youngest son, Michael Corleone, from the iconic mob drama movie, The Godfather. For the first slide, um, let's talk about their identities. So Vito Corleone, or Don Corleone, he's a man in his late 50s. In the movie, he's almost 60 years old, and he owns Gang Olive Company. He's the head of his family and the unquestioned leader. Vito's actual business works as a legal front to his growing organized crime. His character is very calm, quiet, and strategic. And as a businessman with a reputable background, Vito wants to ensure the legacy of his family and name and act as a king upon his throne. Michael, on the other hand, is an outsider with no involvement in the family business too much. He returned from World War II as a decorated 31-year-old Marine and is not initially involved in father's operations. In Don Corleone's eyes, Michael was always an individualist in making decisions and choosing his path, who wants to live a life separate from his family's criminal activities. However, the physical interactions we see in this movie and reunion with his father changes the course of action. And since Don Corleone is so high in his rank, other family members and the associates in the film portray him as a role model, and Michael wants nothing but good for his father. So I decided to take their relationship and apply it to Knapp's relationship model. So here's what I got. Initiating is the early interactions when Michael returns from World War II, and because Michael is initially an outsider to the family's criminal activities with no serious involvement. Also, Michael presents at the his presence at the wedding, hosted by Corleone family, is his reintroduction to the family context. Experimenting, this is where Michael understands more of family's operations and nature of his father's business. Michael's dialogue with his beloved Kay about Luca Brasi, who is one of the associates and assassins in the film, and the family's influence, it indicates the growing awareness about what's going on. As for the intensifying, the assassination attempted on Vito Corleone and Michael's decision to protect his father marked the intensifying stage. So when that happens, Michael volunteers to kill Solozzo and McCluskey, who were involved in nearly assassinating him. It shows his emotional investment to his father and readiness to involve himself deeply in the family matters. The integrating, Michael increasingly takes on responsibilities within the family business uh, and aligns with Don Corleone's expectations. After return from Sicily, Michael becomes more entrenched in the family operations and marries his beloved wife Kay, but he also blends his personal life with his family duties. So, for the last stage, which is bonding, Vito formally hands over the reins to the family of the family to Michael, marking a public and significant commitment. And Vito advised Michael's actions do consolidate power after Vito's death, which symbolized the final bonding stage. And for the last three pieces, which are pretty relevant to The Godfather, the first one differentiating is that Michael adapts a different type of leadership with more ruthless and straightforward approach. And circumscribing is after Vito's death, because there is a figurative reduction in communication as Michael takes full control, um, and stagnating, which shows the relationship that does not go through all typical coming apart stages, as Vito dies before significant relationship degradation with Michael could happen in a normal way, right? So for the body language, this is very important. In the first scene, when Amerigo Bonacera, a mortician, offers to pay Vito in exchange for revenge upon the man who assaulted his daughter, Vito feels offended by hearing this offer, and man kept saying, "I can give you anything, please do it for me." But it kind of insinuates like Vito is both a killer and money can buy him. So Vito's hand is petting and playing with a cat sitting on his lap, but after hearing Bonacera's request, his grip tightens on the cat around the animal's head, and pets it to release the anger. By doing so, Vito reaffirms his identity as a man. And he doesn't expose his anger and he stands his ground, which is more professional. And in contrast, Michael meets Mo Green, a mob boss who runs business in Las Vegas. In that moment, Michael says it straight. The Corleone family wants to buy you out. Mo gets confused, offended, and angry at Michael while they exchange. Michael twirls a Zippo lighter between his fingers, smokes a cigarette, and presses it into an ashtray for a long time. In that moment, Michael's communication was calm, authoritative, and resembled Don Corleone's ways. And I have to refer to these two pictures right here. The head strokes. So we see Don Corleone touching his head, just like Michael in the second pic below. So Don Vito does it all the time as it helps him to calm himself down. And at the Italian restaurant, moments after Michael retrieves the gun from restaurant's toilet to kill Solzo and McCluskey, Michael stands in front of the bathroom as we see here, and he presses both his hands against his hair to gather emotions. So then he leaves the bathroom and sits himself back to the table. Seconds later, he pulls out the gun and shoots Solozzo straight in the head and his bodyguard first in the throat and then in his head. That was a very intense scene. So with that being said, let's go to the behavior. So Michael's characteristics, they recall Vito's after he takes over as the head of the family. In one scene, Michael positions himself in an armchair in a similar manner to his father, crossing his legs and rolling in furniture. However, Michael is not as calm and collected as Vito in professional manner because he rubs his eyebrows and slumps in his chair, moving his body back and forth before proceeding with his plan. Michael is more energetic, vicious, and hungry, and Vito definitely due to his experience relies more on longer negotiation talk. Also, probably because of his age, right? He's more respectful. Also, referring to negotiation and business, when Vito meets with Solozzo, who tried to kill him, by the way, Solozzo is a narcotics business owner. Solozzo offers him a proposition, and then Vito declines that proposition. But in that discussion, what stood out the most was his son, Sonny Corleone, his oldest son, who interrupted their conversation. Vito clearly didn't like this and later scolded him for his bad behavior. And in contrast, uh, as as mentioned in the body language slide, Michael arrives in Las Vegas to buy Mo Green's casino. Fredo Corleone defends Mo Green and questions Michael's reasoning, similar to the Solozzo meeting scene in which father advises Sonny to never tell anyone outside the family what he thinks again. Michael warns Fredo never to take sides with anyone against the family again, which is a huge similarity right here. And to just conclude, the initial conflict is that Michael's desire to live normal, crime-free life conflicts with Vito's expectations and his other family members who expects him to be involved, right? As the true member of family would. And probably the resolution would be, you know, the resolution for it was the near fatal attack on Vito and the subsequent threats to the family compel Michael to involve himself, resolving the initial conflict through necessity rather than choice. So over the time, he accepts his fate, right? And this is how it ends. So here are my references. Thank you for listening. This movie was actually hard to analyze. I believe I could do it better. However, there was not enough time to do it more professionally on this film because this film is darker movie. It's crime, and there are not a lot of moments which can truly show the interpersonal relationship from every single side and every single aspect. So thank you for listening.